Hey guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimp with a Limp, and I've got a special treat for you. It's probably one of the last like this I'm gonna be showing off anytime soon. This is from the heyday of when Kickstarters were cheap and good, and you could get a box full of yummy for not a whole lot of money, and not the four, 500, $600,000 Kickstarters that we see nowadays. This one I actually backed something like 4 or 5 years ago, and it finally arrived. And usually I would be upset because it took so long, but I'll be damned if they didn't make a good freaking game. I've been paying attention to this one, so I'm going to do an unboxing and show it. And if I get some time, I'm definitely going to show off a little bit of the gameplay of this because I am looking forward to playing it with my girls. Games like this, the miniatures based RPG dungeon crawly games, chuck and dice, are my little guilty pleasure. Yes, I love my war games. That's mainly what I do, but these were my guilty pleasure. And I could get those back in the day without too much worry. On Kickstarter, it was no problem. But now, I mean, a game like this, I think I got this for like 140, 150, something like that. Like I said, it was many years ago. And now, if with all the stuff this comes with, if they were to make it now, I would be surprised if it went for less than 300 on the Kickstarter. Now, I looked on eBay just to satisfy my curiosity, and this is one I'm going to say if you are into storytelling RPG style games that are miniatures based, that you're chucking dice at enemies, and that it's pre-painted. You don't have to. Now the paint job isn't great. Now it's good. It's serviceable, but it's not great by any means. But if you like those, if they're your little guilty pleasure too, this is one worth trying to get if you don't have it. But right now prices are high. It is a good idea to keep an eye on eBay though, because so many are throwing their copies up to try to sell it on eBay. And I've seen them anywhere from the 200s to the 400s, 500s, the ridiculous prices. If you can get a copy, if you can get a copy for the 200 is, 250 is high, but still worth it for all the gameplay you get. I would probably get it. You're not going to be able to buy it retail, sadly, but it's definitely it's good. It's good. Let's open it up, show you all this, and this is massive box. I'm gonna shake my tripod doing this, but look how big that box is. It is deep and it is heavy. All right, so right here at the top we have our rules, and they have this really ease of play starting thing going on here. The rule book for what's going on with it is not overly dense. Let's see, it's 36 pages. 36 pages of rules. That's not a whole lot for how deep this game is. I would have expected the rules to be longer. They've got some nice quick starter guides that help you out. See right here, quick starter guide tells you how to get started in the game, and it gives you some like basics of getting into it. And for the most part, you're going to learn a good chunk of the game just from this. Plus, each one of the classes, so the classes in this game, think like warrior, mage, ranger, they all are called a path. All right, so this game, when they say path, they mean what class it is. They each have their own little quick start guide associated with them as well. I think there's 6 different paths that you can go on. So that is a very nice inclusion. How you would fight, how the basics of the game work with your specific class. So between that, you really don't have to get deep into the rule book to learn it. Now, you would think there would be a lot of punch boards, but they're not. And there's a very specific reason for that. We've got our class portraits, and this is really neat. And I'll show you why here in a second when we look at the miniatures. But there's not a whole lot of punch boards like you would usually have of a game this size. I forget how many games like Frosthaven and Gloomhaven had, but just stacks and stacks of boards you had to punch out, and you're just sitting there trying to organize everything. But there's not a whole lot of that you have to do here. Most of it is your admin type stuff like this, where you're going to be keeping track of your skills and your XP points and your health and your MP and all the other good stuff that you have. You've got all these counters to keep track of that, but most of this is going to be tucked away, right? You're not going to need to have all this out. You could even put this, keep it in the box and just punch out the ones that you need. This is your starter thing. Let's see which side's up. So your 6 starting classes have their gear here. Just one sheet has what they are, their few low abilities, what gear they start with. So simple, so simple. I know I need to just go right here to punch it out. Like our warrior class up here, he starts with a little bit of basic armor, a shield, basic sword, and a staff. Or no, he has a spear. Our ranger over here starts with a bow, a little quiver, a little dagger, some little basic armor pieces. I like this one over here. A couple of different types of daggers and a trap. That's awesome. I think this is our healer, basic staff, some pouches he can do some healing type stuff with. And this one, a bard. Yeah, he's got a little bit of armor he starts with, which is basic. But he's got his little loot, so he can do like some cool stuff. But he's got a little crossbow. And the mage, don't punch it out yet. I don't need you punched out yet. Actually, I'll leave you out just for a second. Our mage has tines. I don't know, tines, little stabby pokey sticks that he uses. Something neat about this is the items are really easy to tell. It tells what stat they use. This uses strength. It's all D20 dice, and you have a modifier based on your skill level, right? So you're increasing your strength, your dexterity, your intellect, the same basic RPG tropes. And you roll the D20, add your strength bonus, and the 2 numbers tell you what it does. If you hit with 2 to 11, you just do the white part. 12 plus, you do the white and the gray part. It's just that simple. And this tells you who you can hit. Here, it's just whoever's adjacent to you. I love it. I love it. It's simple but complex at the same time. Now, here we're getting into some of the actual stuff, right? And this is what I was talking about with the characters and why I actually took the time to pull this out to show everyone. Because usually I wouldn't take this much effort with just a boxed RPG. There's so many out there nowadays, but this one actually deserves the time. Your characters can interchange the different heads. So you can have the guy ones, the girl ones. You can be a human, you can be an elf, you can be a dwarf, all the usual tropes. And you do that by switching out the little head pieces. Like this one, I've already got a head plugged into it. So we have our little warrior there with his little head. He's dark, he's black guy. So it's hard to see him in the light there. But look at that. Bam! Already set up. And the outfit is generic enough that it doesn't matter. You could put any one of those heads on it and it's going to work. That's what I was talking about with all those different pieces, all those different characters, is that you can interchange them however you like. If you want to have the Fae thing or the whatever thingy, let me grab it back out, show you. Doesn't matter which one of these you pick. Either they're double-sided, so you can have the guy one, you can have the girl one, you can do human, elf, halfling, dwarf, whatever that is, Lunai, orc, Feelish. They might as well call that fetish. Come on. A Slytherin or a Fae, so fairy folk crap. You can have all the different classes. They all have, the races have the different special abilities for the race, and then each one of the classes have their own special abilities that they start with, and of course they can level. Now this is where it starts getting heavy. A lot of stuff going on in this box. I'm going to have to try to unpack it carefully. But remember how I said that you don't have a whole lot of punch boards, right? Usually with these games, you'd have massive amount of punch boards. Right over here, a whole bunch of treasure boxes for all the different classes, and then a generic one. So for example, our generic treasure board here, our treasure chest, it's already got the counters punched out. It's in it. So if you want to play the game, boom, you pull that out. There you go. If you win a piece, you randomly pull one out, and that's what you get. Now, I'm not going to show this because I don't want to spoil what's in there for people, but there's, I can't show you. I don't even want to see. I want to pull this stuff out randomly. There's stuff in there. There's cool stuff in there, and that's like that for all the different classes. So if you get a generic item, you pull from there. But say our warrior class got something from their path, a reward for completing some quest, they could draw from their specific chest and get an improved item, a better sword, a better shield, some new armor, all that type of stuff. We've got little tuck boxes here that I don't even know what these have. Oh, this is going to have their cards and their counters and their little die. Everyone uses a D20. These are used to keep track of your stat points on your little player boards, and then cards for all your different skills, reference cards. It's all packed up and organized so neatly in this game. All the different classes right there. Bam, there they are. You're already set. So let's pull these out. I'm going to have a hell of a time trying to get this all back in there. But I need to show you guys a couple of things. We're not going to unpack the whole thing because I've got this ready to go. But here we go. Let's do this one. There are 3 of these. Now you notice this is shrink wrap, so it's to keep all these pieces because this is a triple layered board. Look at that. Let's see if we can get it focused. Triple layered. Top layer is basically what you're looking at, but they've got the 3 layers so you can push down and flip these over. So as you were traveling along this on your quest, you're going to find different areas. So this is like your world map. You travel across your world map. You know, think Witcher 3, Geralt, he's traveling across the world map, but then he actually enters the castle. The castle will be one of these areas. You'll flip that over and see, oh, this is area, blah, 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 blah. And it will tell you what little card areas to place out tiles on the board where you will actually place your miniatures. They came up with such an ingenious system here. I freaking love this. There are 3 of these in the game total. This little piece here that says do not open has the other 2. So after you complete this set, then you're going to go to new areas, but you're not going to know what's there just yet. You see over here, Fig Box 1 and Fig Box 2. These have all of the miniatures for all the different enemies, and you don't even know what's going to be in there. It's going to tell you at certain points of your game to punch certain boxes. Now, I've watched one of these. I got to open one just to show you guys, but I know what's in this because I watched a playthrough of it. Look, our little rats are already painted. All of the monster ones are painted. They're already set to go. Now, I open that because that's rats, and everyone knows you find rats when you first start out in an RPG game. So I'm not really spoiling much there. But anytime that you are directed to face an enemy, you're going to go to one of these 2 tuck boxes that is going to have the enemy. It's already going to be painted, and it's already going to have the amount in there that you need to fight. So you're fighting wolves or giants or trolls or whatever. They're in here, they're painted, they're ready to go. You just punch it and pull them out at that point in your game. Now, these are extra markers to keep track of things like damage and wear on your equipment. Damage, obviously, self-explanatory. Wear, and let me grab one of these to show you guys. Look at this. See how it's a helmet and it has a little shield icon and one little anvil? It means it can absorb 1 hit 1 time. And as you get better equipment, it'll have higher numbers. So as you damage your equipment, you'll put those orange tokens, the wear tokens on it, and you can repair those pieces of equipment later on. But that prevents you from taking damage. And it's area specific because they're area dice. When you are attacked, you'll roll these dice, and the different dice are used depending on what type of enemy is attacking you. Some enemies might be shorter, they might be taller, and that will have them using different types of dice. Those little rats, if I remember right, it's the yellow dice, can only hit at like your waist level and below. So that's where that die hits. Different enemies hit different spots. Freaking love that. Now look at this. All our cards already in boxes, ready to go. Now I'm not spoiling anything by doing this, but look at that. All our cards ready to go. There are card dividers. You will have to put those in as one of the very first things that you do in the game. But after that, you're good. And you will open these decks to get certain cards, certain event cards, jobs, threat, points of interest, NPCs, travel cards, reference cards, foe cards, key cards, day cards. Everything that you need has already been organized. They actually did an RPG right for once. So many of these games, you want to play them. They might be good games. They might be fun to play, but you don't want to spend 10 hours setting the damn thing up. You don't have to do that here. It's already good to go. Everything has a box. Everything has a spot. Everything goes where it's supposed to go. Look at this. And these are heavy too. These have a lot of weight in them. It makes it so much easier to jump back into your game. Now, I'm trying to pull this out in a very specific way. Very cool thing here, combo and threat. Enemies operate off of threat, you operate off of combo. As enemies do their stuff, you do things, you'll build up threat, and then they'll spend those threat points to attack you. As you do things, you'll build up combos, and those combos will allow you to do special attacks. So think, instead of swinging your sword, doing a spinning attack and hitting everyone around you. That's what stuff like combos will do. Now this is really what I wanted to show you guys. Look at this. Look at this. This is awesome. Right here are tuck boxes. There's a tuck box for every class, and it's got everything. Look, you can just stack it and you're good to go. God, I love it. I love it. My wife will love this too. Organization is just like her thing. But set that stuff like that so you can see it. Here we go. Here's your character, right? These are nice too. These are thick. We've got health points, we've got MP points, we've got stamina points, we've got all our different areas. So those armor pieces and hand pieces like swords and shields and all that stuff, this is where that stuff goes. Your weapons over here, you've got belt items, so think like potions, traps, stuff like that will go there. You'll keep your action little tokens right up here. And this way, when you roll and you take hits, this shows you where you were hit. And one of these different areas, left arm, left hand, left shoulder, head, chest, legs. Cool part is you can even take your shield and put it over a couple of these spots when you're fighting. So let's say you're fighting as the warrior and you have your sword and shield. You put up your shield as your action. Now when the enemy attacks you, if they hit you where your shield is, your shield takes the damage instead of you. Every class has this. You'll have your inventory. You'll have your different skills over here. Those tokens that I showed you for strength, dexterity, intellect, wisdom, charisma, and endurance. Your little coin purse. You'll have the different ones located here to keep track of all your stuff. You put your portrait token there. Name, race, title, all that good stuff. Your level. You build up XP points because you're going to level up, which will get you new skills, which will increase your stats, just like you would in a regular RPG. And right, you see our little punch board here, our different skills, right? You punch these out, put them over here, your active skills, and it's just like other ones, right? So as you gain some of these, you will pull those out, you put them over here, but you can increase some of them. You need to get multiples of the previous one to have both. Like here, it's a shield skill, so you need this shield and sword one previously. Boom, and now you can get this one as you level up. You can change your path, you can respec just like you could in a video game. Now, when you're ready to stop playing, boom, 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 you put all this You can leave all the tokens right in there. And then you just, bam, shove it right back into the little box here. Just like that. And now you're done. You're done. Just like that, and you're ready to play. These people put thought and effort into ease of play. Everything's got a box, everything's got a place to be, and it's so easy to organize. All right, now I'm trying to think the best way I can show you guys these pieces. I can't really show them without opening them, right? But basically, there are a massive amount of different cards. They're called tiles, but they're very thin, so think like cardstock style paper. They're going to be of different sizes: big, long, medium, and small. When you go to those areas, right? When I was talking before about the major world board, let me grab that, show you. All right, here. When you're moving along, you flip one of these, it'll have a number. It'll say one of these things. So it'll say, like here, you're down the corner, big 0. It'll say big or long or medium, whatever, right? You set that down. That's you going into the map to the specific spot. It'll show your castle, your town, your dungeon, your basement, wherever. Here's the really cool part about that. Let's say we're in a big field. It's got a little house in it. Well, the house might show its roof here, and it'll have medium 1 on it. So we take our characters over and go to that spot. We can flick that card over, medium 1, whatever it is, and it'll show us what's inside that building. Well, we go inside the building and we find stairs and go down the stairs. Okay, now we found this dirt basement with a tunnel leading off. From one card, we might end up with this long multi-level dungeon that goes in so many different directions as we search through and find the big bad that was tunneled underneath this one little small house. It's really awesome to see in action as the cards start to layer themselves together, layering out the spot that you're in, the actual area where you're going to be moving your miniatures, the enemy miniatures, doing your fighting and all that cool stuff. But I can't show you just yet because I haven't opened it. I haven't opened it yet because I wanted to show you guys how all the stuff was in the box and what all comes with the game. And there's spoilers to it, right? So you keep all this as is in the order that it's listed down so you know which ones to grab. Like I said, there's 4 sets of these, right? Huge amount of these: big, long, medium, and small, that all work together to create your terrain in multiple different ways, multiple different areas. Very organized. So I can show you guys. Here's just some extra tokens, money, and little tracker tokens. We got a few more in there. But as you can see, we've got our medium. This should be the small one. And then the long one is here in the box going across. So all those are going to work together to create all these different dungeons, all this different stuff. And it gives a rich sense of exploration that I have not seen any other RPG game like this be able to pull off. Think Resident Evil 3. While it was a good game, yeah, it was a fun board game, there were only so many tiles in the game and they were generic, and I hated that about the game. The game, for the most part, was fun, but there's only so many ways they can reorganize the 20 tiles that come with the box, right? Because they're cardboard tile tokens that create their scenery. All the other RPGs pretty much have a similar aspect. They come with so many tiles, and whether they're specific or generic, there's only so many ways they can put them together, even if they're front and back, to create X amount of scenery. Here you have all these different cards, so you can actually do some exploration. You can find a house, you can go in the house, you can go down the stairs, you can go through the tunnel, you can find any number of things. You can find the treasure chest. Think like playing Skyrim or Morrowind, just like it was back in the day, where it was fresh and it was new, and you didn't know what was around the next corner. You might be on this small minor quest and you think, hey, I'm just going to go here and do this one thing. And then the next thing you know, 3 hours have passed and you've been down in this huge dungeon that you didn't even know exist. That can happen in this game, unlike other games. And we've got our card dividers here to have me showing off everything. But again, I'm trying to keep this fairly organized so I can get it all back into the box, because if it's organized just right, it all fits fairly well. Now, I've showed you mainly everything that comes with the game, with the exception of how combat is played, but I gave you the basic gist. I'd have to open some of the secret stuff to show you guys how combat is played. Just trust me, it is very intuitive. There's a deep, rich combat system to this game that works very well, that isn't overly cumbersome. It's not bogged down with so many modifiers that you can't figure it out, and you get just, your mind gets tired trying to work things out. Like, no, it's not that. It's, let me grab this counter sheet here. For the most part, you're looking at really simple things, right? You're looking at whatever weapon you're using, whatever stat it needs, and then you roll on the D20, and that's it, right? You add whatever your stat is. If it's strength, or it's intelligence, or it's endurance, you add that stat to it, and obviously you will increase those stats as you level up. I'm not worried about showing you guys this stuff, since this is all the basic starting equipment. You'll get better stuff as you level up. But things like daggers take this dexterity. I was a little surprised to find the starter bow takes endurance instead of dexterity, but I kind of get it because they tried to go with two different. But I kind of get it because they tried to go with two different skills for each one of the characters. Like our warrior here has strength and endurance for a couple of his weapons, dexterity and endurance. We've got dexterity and charisma, wisdom and strength, charisma and intelligence, and then intelligence and wisdom over here. So each one of the characters have a couple of different stats that they want to level up besides just the usual intelligence, magic points, and the like. But anyway, each one of the enemies is going to have a card associated with them that shows a picture of the enemy, and it's going to have a diagram showing those hit points. That's where these different symbols come into play with the different weapons, whether they hit down, whether they hit across, or whether they hit diagonally. And depending on how you strike the enemy, you can do things like critical attacks, or you might even be able to wipe them out in one hit if you get the right angle on them. Things like special abilities give you bonuses, right, to your strikes. It can cause extra damage, extra hits across them, or it might even be able to hit adjacent enemies. But anyway, that is the basics of the game and everything that it comes with. There's a lot of stuff in this, but it's worth it. And just the sheer organization of it. This is one of the first games that I have ever seen that most everything is organized. Most all of the tokens that you're going to get, those weapon tokens, armor tokens, and the like, they're already boxed up. They're already in treasure chests. You don't have to worry about punching them out after sheet after sheet after sheet after sheet and organize them, whether they're in bags or you try to find an organizer that you can put in the box that will keep things neat, and then you'd have to dig through to try to find it. No. Hey, all right, my warrior leveled up. He got a special piece of gear. It's in here. I'm done. That's it. Now, yes, there's other pieces of gear besides just the few boxes here, but that gives you the rough idea of it. It makes it so much more simple to play this game. You add that together with the card boxes already being organized, the top boxes here for each one of the players. You only have to pull out the ones that you're using, slide them back in when you're done, leave the counters in there, and your game's saved. It is so easy to pick up and start playing again from where you left off, even if you've already packed the game up, because everything is just organized. Anyway, I will stop rambling. This is Arydia, The Pass We Dare Tread. It is absolutely worth it. If you were like me and into those just dice chucker, kill the rats, sword and shield magic-y gameplay, a little story along with it, you would be doing yourself a disservice by not getting this game. This is one of the best that I have ever come across. If I had known how good this was, I would have been writing the hell out of them. Hurry up, send it to me. I don't want to wait. But I can say the wait was well worth it. The components are excellent. The organization is excellent. The gameplay is excellent. Everything is absolutely worth it. This is one that I am definitely happy that I backed all those years ago so I can play it now. If you get a chance to get it on eBay, something like that, don't do Game Steward because they're always like double the price of whatever the Kickstarter was at minimum, if not triple. So they probably got this thing at like $3.99, which I mean the game's good, but they're gouging you, at that price. That's ridiculous. But a slight markup to make up for it, if you can get it in the twos, somewhere in the twos. If you get it in the ones, right? Because like I said, I paid like 150 of this way back when. So if you can get it anywhere in the ones, absolutely jump on it. But if you could get it at like 250, 270-ish, that there you're kind of stretching a little bit, then it's still worth it. There's a massive amount of gameplay, really good components, really good fun. Everything's painted. All the enemies are already painted. You don't even have to worry about that. So much going on here. Definitely worth it. When you start hitting the threes, especially the fours, it's not that the game's not worth the price. It's just that that's too much of a gouge. All right, that's going to be it for me. Stay tuned because when I do get a chance, I am going to try to pull this one down to the table for a little bit of filming to show it off in action. But that will be a while because I have actual review copies that I've got to do. But in my spare time, the little bit that I do have, I will be poking around at this. All right, y'all take care. I'll catch you in the next one.